Hi, I'm Ruiz Evans, author of California's Next Century 2.0. In this book, I discuss a possible new path for California. Even though to some it may sound radical, it provides very distinct advantages for all parties involved, including the federal government, but especially Californians. It's no secret that we are facing financial woes in this country, the likes of which we have not seen before. Californians didn't cause these problems, but Californians are surely paying the bulk of the burden. The federal financial crisis has quickly become California's financial crisis. Today, California cities cannot properly fund police and fire departments, teachers can't be paid their worth, and university students and parents are forced to pay staggering tuition costs for good education. Education that we as a state must provide our children or risk having our kids struggle all of their lives. Our debt continues to rise every day, crushing our future with the heavy burden of this ever-growing obligation. Well, an extreme crisis demands a strong solution. The solution that I propose can quickly eliminate our state debt, effectively fund our police, fire, and teachers, make California cities safe by properly funding services, and provide our children with affordable and worthy education from teachers who are rewarded fairly. And give us the ability to finally free ourselves from the devastating load of debt and live our lives free from the agony of financial distress. Californians foot about 15% of the federal budget each year, to the detriment of our own citizens. What we send to Washington each year is roughly equal to our state budget for California. And historically, we have had very little to show for it, current stimulus money aside. California holds a very special place in the world. It is the world's 8th largest economy, and as such, we attract business interests the world over. But most efforts on the part of Californians to take advantage of such interests have effectively been stymied by the federal government. Governor Schwarzenegger famously voiced his frustration against this type of continued obstruction, and every California governor going back over 50 years has called for expanded trade just for California. As I argue in my book, and the goal of Californians for a Better Future at cbfnow.org. The time has come to claim our rightful place in the world economy and the world community, and to stop financially crippling our citizens while carrying the load for other states, a situation that has gone on for 30 years, far too long. No, I'm not talking about secession, but that we rearrange the terms of our partnership to arrive at mutually beneficial terms that we can all profit from. I am suggesting that California become subnationally sovereign. In such an arrangement, California would continue to use the US dollar. Trade and business contracts would not change. The existing military would still continue to protect the state, use existing bases in California, and Californians would still continue to serve in the armed forces of America. Once independent, the California economy would begin to rise due to a new focus on international trade with new laws and a new economy designed to fit international trade at the speed of California and not the stilted pace of Washington. Such an arrangement would also allow Washington the freedom to act more efficiently in the interests of the other 49 states without taking California into consideration, as the interests of the other 49 states are not always in line with the interests of California. Additionally, California as subnationally sovereign would be uniquely poised to fill the void being quickly left by Switzerland. Switzerland has for years prospered as the diplomatic center of the world, but the world has changed, and a European center no longer holds the appeal for a global center for the new world powers. In the coming decades, the new superpowers represented by the USA and the EU as one entity, but also Russia, India, China, and Brazil, will demand a new negotiation nexus that represents the life and culture of all of the new powers. California is the single most diverse state that can provide the same dynamic in today's world as Switzerland effectively provided when most of the world's powers were European. An invigorated California would quickly grow its economy, which would benefit the federal government due to our continued economic link. An independent California, free to pursue its own path, free of federal income taxes, and free from cumbersome and limiting trade and business laws, would quickly eliminate its state debt and create surpluses to pay for salaries and services that have gone neglected. California's financial stability and solid long-term prosperity is at hand. We need to reach out and claim it. Subnational sovereignty has worked between Hong Kong and China, between Scotland and England, and even America, historically between Cuba and the Philippines. Now, many of you may be saying that as a U.S. state, we cannot seek such a free agreement, that this matter of state independence was closed after the Civil War. Yes, it was for most states, but not for California and Hawaii. You see, these two states hold a distinct legal exception, which has been recognized by other world leaders and meets the UN criteria for such matters. You see, most expansion of U.S. territories is based on the European legal premise of terra nullius, which allowed countries to settle uninhabited or barbarous country. Most territories in the U.S. were settled and developed, and then the inhabitants made a petition for statehood. California, however, had an existing sovereign government that was taken over by naked military force. This process clearly violated the established method of expanding statehood, and as such clearly allows California to petition for a return of its sovereignty. Ambassadors of several countries have expressed a willingness to present California's case to the UN based on this unique manner of how it achieves statehood status. But let's not concern ourselves with how all of this is possible. Let's focus on whether subnational sovereignty is truly in the interests of California and maybe other states. Let's start that dialogue. I ask you to take a closer look at this matter and join me and others at cbfnow.org to start this discussion. Thank you.